Hi everyone! I've been doing a lot of redraws recently. Is it because I'm out of ideas? Maybe, but it does help me when I'm having art block, so mind your business. Anyway, I decided to make a video out of it because why not? I picked a few pieces to redraw, some older, some more recent, and I'll analyze what mistakes I made, what I changed, and hopefully it will be somewhat helpful. Also, I will be criticizing these pieces, pointing out specific things I don't like and everything, but I just want to make it clear that I'm not fishing for compliments. This also only goes for my own art. If I criticize something that you do, don't feel hurt because I literally only care about it on my art. I'm not nearly as critical when it comes to other people's art, so yeah, don't take anything I say personally, that's all. Now, let's get to it. First piece I chose is this one from November 2021. This is Sophie from the Walton Files, and I chose this one because I like the idea and knew I can execute it better. I have a lot of criticism for it, and a little bit because the Walton Files is getting revived again, but anyway, I didn't change the composition, like, at all. It's just the character facing forward with text in the background. I like the idea, but it's not a very good execution. For one, I didn't even try on the lighting, I just colored everything like I normally would. The least I could have done is make the background pitch black, but instead I used a brownish dark gray, so there's not enough contrast for what I was going for. Next, I want to talk about the style I had. I still try to do line art at that time, I don't anymore. I never enjoyed doing it, to be honest. I just wanted to get to coloring as fast as possible, and at some point I realized that I can literally just do that. And of course the proportions and how I stylize things have changed as well. I don't really like my old style anymore, but I know a lot of people do. However, I do think it fits the Walton Files vibe pretty well, especially the way I drew noses. I actually would get a lot of comments asking if it was inspired by the Walton Files. The answer is no. I was drawing this way long before I discovered the series, but I can see where this question comes from. I made Sophie pretty crooked. I don't think I knew of the symmetry ruler. Actually no, this was when I couldn't sketch digitally. Yeah, I would do the sketch on paper, take a picture of it and import that in my drawing app. Yeah, makes sense why it's so crooked then. I also think I made the shoulders too wide and bony. Nothing wrong with exaggerated proportions, of course, if that's what you're going for, but I always wanted to have more realistic proportions in my art, so that's why I'm pointing it out. The last thing I want to talk about is the coloring. It's fine for the most part, except the hatching on the shirt and the hair. I was trying to make my art less flat by adding this texture, which is fine, but I wasn't very selective about it. I would put it anywhere I could besides the face, which really just muddies up the drawing in my opinion. I should have done it on just the hair or just the shirt. I also didn't do any shading anywhere except the face, so no wonder I felt like my art was too flat. That's all the issues I had with the old drawing. Spoiler, the new one is my favorite from this video. I'm using a symmetry ruler this time. A little tip, if you're drawing with a symmetry ruler, don't make everything 100% symmetrical. For example, I added some wrinkles on one side of the face, pulled the mouth to one side, stuff like that. It just makes the drawing look more natural even though you're using a ruler. I also decided to practice lighting here. I don't do this type of shading like ever, but this drawing seemed like a perfect opportunity and I think it turned out pretty good. And just overall, my coloring has gotten much better since 2021. Even though there's no line art, it's not flat, the color choices are better, and this piece turned out very clean, I think. I made the background pitch black because contrast. I did the same text in the background. I was going to put the pills as well, but decided against it because it looked really out of place to me. I also added a noise filter on top of everything because it fits the vibe of the series. And that's it. I think I killed this, to be honest. It's much cleaner and there's shading. Hope you like it too. I just realized that the rest of the drawings are My Little Pony related. Well, the next piece is this design I made for photo finish back in June 2022, and I'm changing a lot here. I ditched the line art by this point, but I still didn't really shade anything besides the face, and because of that it looks pretty flat to me. The proportions aren't too bad here, but it's not really what I was going for. The composition is nothing special, I did this a lot at the time, just a character on a grey background, maybe their color palette on the side. I guess I made these as character or reference sheets, but I rarely actually reference them after that. I do still like the design though, so I wanted to work on it more, especially since this is the only time I drew her. I made photo finish black and albino. The reason is pretty much that someone suggested I make one of the characters albino. I like the idea, but the only character with white hair that I could find was photo finish, so there's that. I'm keeping the design pretty much the same, just more in my current style. I am completely changing everything else though. I'm doing a full body, I could not draw them back then for the life of me. Changing the pose as well as the background. I've been doing this thing where I copy the character, zoom in on their face, lower the opacity and use that for the background. That way you can see the character overall and a close-up for the details on the face, which is very important to me because I put a lot of effort into the faces and it's my favorite part, so you better see it. I think I've gotten better at stylizing and exaggerating the characters, because on the original drawing I wanted to make photo finish short and chubby. That's the vibe I got from her, and I don't think I did horribly, it's just not quite how it looked in my head, you know what I mean? She's not round enough, I guess? The face is too slim, the neck is too long, same with the arms. Of course there are people who look like that, don't get me wrong, it's just not what I wanted for this character, that's all. It's also not super visible on the final drawing, but I tried giving her hair a little bit of a yellow tint, because when looking at references I noticed that a lot of black albino people have yellowish or just yellow hair instead of pure white. Some do have white hair, so I guess I wanted to do something in between. I do really like how she turned out and the process was very fun. I also added a black outline to her, which I don't usually do, but I felt like she didn't stand out enough from the background. But I think this is so much better than the original drawing in so many ways. Let me know what you think. Next, I chose this piece from August 2022. It's based on a meme, I swear. This is Celestia from My Little Pony quoting the meme. This one actually got more likes than usual when I posted it on Instagram. Not sure why, but anyway, yeah, this is my human design for her. It's not terrible, but could be much better. The colors are still pretty flat. For the hair, I tried doing locks, but I made them so chunky. For some reason in my head they looked smaller. In terms of composition, there's not much going on, but I'm changing it to match the meme better. I guess I didn't know how to draw side profiles at that time, so I just did the classic 3/4 angle, so I'm fixing that in the new one. I'm also changing her hair to much smaller locks with some wavy strands because it looks very pretty to me, and later I'll add some crystals to it. The proportions are off as well. I still did the sketches on paper at the time. I don't think I sketched the full skull yet. I would draw the face up to the forehead and hairline and then kind of freehand the hair, so sometimes the head would turn out too big or too flat. In this case, the hair is way too big. I know that's kind of what her mane looks like in the show, but I don't like it. This is why you sketch out the skull first, kids. An extra guideline wouldn't hurt. Her chest looks kind of weird to me as well. Not sure what it is exactly, just looks off. The process of this one was a little rough. It was the last drawing I did, so I was getting a little tired, and I took a few breaks when doing her hair. When I draw locks or braids, I do it in multiple layers, from lighter to darker for some dimension, but here I had to do multiple colors, get the placement of the colors right, as well as add the wavy strands. It was still fun though, just took some time, and I like how it looks in the end. Some parts are shaded, others are just flat colors, and I think it looks pretty cool. The design overall could still be better, I think. Oh yeah, I made Celestia Blasian. I think I've talked about this before, but whatever. I just like how she looks with a darker skin color and the white dress and the colorful locks. It's fine if you see her differently, this is just my own interpretation, of course. Speaking of skin color, on the old drawing it looks a little grey, I think. I had this problem for a while, though it's not as bad on this specific piece. But basically when I got into digital art, I kind of stuck to more muted color palettes, which isn't bad, obviously, but then I gradually started using more bright colors, especially when I started redesigning cartoon characters and using their original colors. But I didn't adjust the skin color to the other colors, like didn't make it more saturated at all. So in comparison, the skin looks a lot less saturated and in some cases straight up ashy. So in the new drawing the skin tone is way warmer. I like the end result. I think it's way better than the old one. The coloring is better, the anatomy is better, it matches the meme better. I am not doing shiny armor though, but yeah, hope you like this one too. This next one is gonna have blood. You can skip to this timestamp if you don't want to see that. I'll give you a second. Okay, that's it. And the last piece I chose is this one from November 2022. It's Flutterbat from My Little Pony, of course. I chose this one because I could practice more lighting. I don't know about you, but when I want to practice something, I need to incorporate it into a drawing. I can't just do sketches or normal studies, I don't know. Anyway, on the old drawing, I think the idea is there, but I didn't push it far enough. The expression is very blank, the pose is too natural, I guess. She's supposed to be a bat. I also think it's not dark enough. So I tried to make the expression more vampire-like, especially in the eyes. Making the irises smaller and looking straight into the camera really helped. I could have made her hiss or something like that, but I don't know, I didn't feel like it. Imagine that someone pointed a flashlight at her and this is when she first turned around, or something. At first I used night scenes for the colors, but I later changed it because the hair looked way too grey, it didn't even look like Fluttershy. I also tried to make her more hunched over and at a more of a side angle. I also want to mention the brushes I'm using. So the first piece I redrew was when I was experimenting with brushes, finding what I like, and it doesn't look bad. Then when I stopped doing line art, I also changed the brushes I use. So these are the brushes that I use pretty much every time. I do expand to other ones sometimes, but these are the basics. They're not really textured since I need to have solid shapes, and when rendering I just lower the opacity or use different lighting modes, and I like airbrushing to add a gradient or very quick shading that also helps make the coloring less flat. I like using in-app patterns for the clothes or backgrounds to spice them up. I also have a lot of layers when I color because I'm anxious and need to be able to easily fix my mistakes if needed, which is needed a lot of times. And lately I kinda stopped blending the colors so much, sometimes leaving blobs of colors looks even better to me. So I still don't know if I did the lighting correctly, but it looks nice, I guess. I also don't draw blood super often, but it's so fun. Random question, did anyone ever watch bloody My Little Pony speed paints on YouTube? Because I was weirdly obsessed with them back in the day, though I probably should not have been watching them when I did. Anyway, I do like the end result and I think it's so much better than the original, but I could have made it darker maybe, and the hand is a bit small I think, but it was a lot of fun to do. And that's it. I do think I've improved a lot. The colors are better, shading is better, proportions, facial features, art style itself is better. And this was a cool little thing to do while I'm kind of in a creative block. So if you've never tried redrawing your old art, you definitely should. Though to be fair, the pieces I picked weren't that old, so maybe I'll do another video like this, but with some older pieces, or maybe with my old traditional art, since I only started drawing digitally in about 2020, and I've been drawing traditionally like my whole life. But we'll see. Let me know if you want to see that. Thank you so much for watching. You can like, subscribe, maybe comment and all that. Check out my other socials, they will be on the screen and in the description. Stay safe and bye!